Yes, I was talking about how we can do enchanting with the theory of magic in D&D. If you don't know who I am, I'm the Gorilla of Destiny, and amongst other things, I made a theoretical model for magic in D&D. And now I'm looking at it as a wave, and that's going to help us do enchanting in D&D according to the theory. Obviously, you can just do it anyway. We're making a theory here. We're not changing the rules too much. One really useful fact about waves is something we call superposition. Don't worry, it's not complicated. I realize that sounds more complicated than it is. All superposition means is if I have two waves, so like here the blue and the red one, the overall wave that we're going to see is actually the sum of these two wave components. Like literally just one plus the other. So if the two waves are identical, then we end up with just a doubling. And if they're totally out of phase, then they just cancel out. How does that help us with enchanting? Well, that's where we're going to use something called a standing wave. Now, when I talk about enchanting, I'm going to be talking about these two categories. The first is where it's basically just going to cast a spell on your behalf without using a spell slot. So I just see that as a spell store. And for today, I'm going to ignore that. Instead, we're going to focus on passive magic. This is your stuff like rings that give buffs or our bags of holding, things like that. Right, back to the maths, which we're all very excited for. So, as I said, we can get a new wave by adding together the two component waves in this space. But look what happens when we have the two waves moving in opposite directions at the same speed, and of course with the same frequency as each other. This is how we get something we call a standing wave, because the wave isn't going anywhere. And so, since now we're treating magic as propagations in the magic field, I'm suggesting that enchanting is creating a standing wave within a certain object. Now, when we send a spell that has this kind of funny shape on the wave, I don't know if we necessarily need that, because why make lives difficult for ourselves? Anyway, onto the theoretical physics. If I have a box of width L, and two fixed points here and here, and a string going between them, with a bit of force, we could pluck this string and have the wave travel down, and then it reflects here, and then it comes back, and then it reflects here, and then it comes back, and then it reflects here, and so on. This will cause a standing wave on that string. And the frequency, or the wavelength of that wave, is decided by two things: the size of the box and the harmonic we're looking at. So that's this number here, n. This is n equal to 1. This is n equal to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And this is actually used in quantum mechanics, so we're really not far off of the real theoretical physics here. This has a lot to do with musical instruments as well, but that also depends on the mass and the tension, but that might be an inroads for how bards cast, but we'll leave that for another day. And so my idea in short is that the passively enchanted objects are just standing waves in the magic field that have certain required energy levels or harmonics, which are defined by the spell level you put into them. It's an evolving theory. Let me know what you think in the comments. Anyway, have a lovely day. Okay, bye.